Okay, in this video we're going to show you how to create a DTXmania DTX file using DTXfromAL and Audacity. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a multi-track audio file, and in part one we're going to show you how to sync up the file. So to do that, we're going to open Audacity. I'm going to use version 1.3.7. First thing you do is you open your multi-track audio file. In this case we're going to do Oasis Wonderwall. So I open that, and what it's going to do is it's going to open each track separately, and I've kind of looked at this song already and I noticed that the timing is 4/4 and there's bass hits at the beginning of each measure. That's the way I'm going to populate. That's the way I'm going to build the DTX file. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close the non-drum tracks. And actually in this case I'm going to close, there's two snare tracks that I'm going to close, and for right now we're just going to look at the bass track at the top and the cymbal track on the bottom, and I'll show you why in just a second. So we're going to zoom in first, and what happens is we're going to zoom in again, and you can see that it turns out that at this bass hit we're going to first hit the selection tool in Audacity, and at this bass hit that's where this measure starts. And if you look, this is a cymbal track here, and if I listen to it I find out that there are 8 ride hits in this measure, and each measure is about 2.75 seconds. So the first thing you do is you say tracks, add new label track, and I'm going to move this track up because I want to put it right next to the bass track. And so what you do is you click on the bass track at the beginning of the bass hit, and then you hit Control B, and that puts a label in your label track. You can stick a number in here for reference purposes or whatever. Now I know that if I went down to the cymbal track I could count 8 ride taps, and I know that this next bass hit is the start of the next measure. So I select the beginning of the bass hit, I hit Control B, I'm just going to stick a number in there for now, and I can add a few more of these. This is the next one. Since this is a multi-track, it's a lot easier to see where the measures start. You can use the left and right arrows to move around your selection. Hit Control B. Okay, I've marked off the first 4 measures. Now I'm going to go to the end of this label track, and I have to tell DTXfromAL to build up measures all the way until it sees this E label. Okay, now I just hit File, Export Labels. I use the default name, which is labels.txt, and hit Save, yes. And now I open DTXfromAL. I'm using version 1.9 here, and I go to the audio file. I'm going to pick the audio file, which I've already prepared. You can see how I did this in a separate video. And I'm going to pick the Wonderwall audio track with no drums. So I hit Open. It automatically populates labels.txt because it found it there, and it guesses that the BPM is about 87. That's fine. So I just hit Create. I'm going to call it Expert, and now it's created a DTX file called expert.dtx, and most of it is already synced up. But just to check how well a job, where we're at, we're going to open Audacity, and we're going to say close off the cymbal track because we don't really need it right now. And now I'm going to open File, Import Labels, and I'm going to import the labels from DTX.txt file. This file was just created. When you hit that create button, not only did it create the expert.dtx file, but it created labels from DTX.txt file. And what that file is, when you open it in Audacity, you get this labels track down here. And this labels track shows you where every measure is in your DTX file. And if the BPM changes in the middle of a file, you'll see that the measures don't line up with the hits. For example, maybe right here, measure 29. The DTX file is a little ahead of where the bass hit is, so I'm going to hit my selection tool. I'm going to select the beginning of this bass hit because I know that this is where a measure starts, and I'm going to click in my labels track, and I'm going to hit Control B, and I'm just going to stick a 29 in there, and then I'm going to keep going. I can see there's, if I scroll farther down, there's more of an error. Here's 38. And I will click in there, put 38. Now I only added 2 labels now, so let's see how that affects things. I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to say File, Export Labels again, labels.txt, that's the one I'm working on. I'm going to go back to DTXfromAL. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and hit Create, and it's just going to recreate my expert.tx file, and it's going to recreate the labels from DTX file. So now I hit open. Now it moved measure 38 now lines up with this bass hit perfectly, and if we scroll back here we see that most of these are lining up really nice. Okay, so now let's go past 38 and see, and if I keep scrolling along here, it's pretty good. It's pretty close. Maybe around 50 it starts to come off a little bit. It's wandering a little, not too much. So I click in my labels track, I hit Control B, I enter 51, and then I keep going. So I scroll some more. Let's scroll way down here at this part of now 71. Actually, it's looking pretty good. This might be a constant BPM song, but this is good for demonstration purpose. Let's say that this one was a little off. You just click in there and you hit 76 because you know that that's about where the measure is. Go to the end of the file. 92 is actually a little late, so we're going to move that up a little bit. Hit Control B, 92. It's a little off, and that's pretty close to the end. Well, that's right at the end. Okay, now I close this file. I say Export Labels again. Do the same thing I just did. Go back to DTXfromAL. Hold on the Shift key, hit Create. It replaces my expert.dtx and recreates that file. And what do you know? When I open the expert file, I have an expert file. I have it starting up correctly, and all my measures are right in sync. The BPM is automatically populated. So that's how you deal with varying BPM files. Watch the next video. I'm going to show you how to automatically create bass chips and snare chips. Thanks.